Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B, and I'm back with another weekly astrology report. I am filming outside today because it is nice and cool out, and it's raining, and I just wanted to be outside in the ambiance of the rain. But of course, you know, as I film outside, as soon as I turn on my camera, dogs want to bark, people want to drive by, helicopters want to go in the sky. It is absolutely crazy. So I hope that the noises aren't too distracting and that you are able to still hear me really well. So if you are new to my channel, first of all, I will say welcome. I am B, like I said before, and I bring you these weekly astrology reports so you know what energies are at play for the week, and how to utilize the energies to your advantage, okay? And also, what are some of the challenges and some of the things that you need to watch for during the week so you can best navigate, okay? So that is really why I bring you these reports every week, so you can just really know what's going on and utilize the information to your advantage, okay? So, without chatting too much, let's get into this week's energy. There are a lot of old lingering energies that have just kind of been carrying us through for the past couple of weeks, and then we have some new things, a couple of new things coming in, the biggest one being the Pisces full moon. That's going to be on Tuesday evening for some folks, and then Wednesday morning for others. So it is probably the highlight of the week in terms of energy, but let's get right into it, okay? So the first thing, let's just talk about some of the things that are lingering, okay? So the heaviest energy that we're continuing to feel is this Mars squaring Pluto and Saturn transit, okay? So when I say square, that means Mars is having tension, and Mars is currently hanging out in the sign of Aries. Mars is all about action, drive, initiation. It's all about aggression and war and, you know, agriculture. A lot of people don't even associate Mars with agriculture, but Mars actually also rules over agriculture. So this is a lot of the energies that Mars brings, and it's hanging out in Aries, which is home sign. So it feels very at home in Aries, and it tends to operate its best in this Aries energy, okay? It's just that go get 'em, let me plow forward and do what I have to do, let me set things on fire type of energy. Now, when I say it's squaring Pluto and Saturn are currently hanging out in the sign of Capricorn. Okay, so this is ruling our government, our businesses, our structures, our foundations. I mean, this is like a bulk of what that Capricorn energy is, with Saturn, which is our restrictions, our time. It's literally the energy that keeps us in line, right? Gives us guard railings so that we don't go crazy. And then Pluto is all about transformation, and it's all about rebirth, and it's all about tearing down to build back up again, right? So Mars squaring these two planets in Capricorn, there's tension happening, and it's very, very heavy. I mean, 2020's energy is heavy in particular because we have a Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter conjunction really in the sign of Capricorn, which has been kicking up a lot of the stuff that you see, the tearing down of the old structures, the breaking down of things to rebuild things anew. But in the process of tearing and breaking things down, it's uncomfortable, it's, you know, unnerving because you don't know what to expect next, right? So that's a lot of what's been happening in 2020 in a nutshell. But with Mars coming in, right, and having tension, it's just really bearing down and making this energy even heavier, okay? So we're talking about, with this particular placement with Mars having tension with these two, we're talking about power struggles, challenges, more frustrations and restrictions on our freedom, okay? And this is the heaviest energy that you've probably been feeling over the past couple of weeks, because Mars actually started squaring, I want to say, Pluto a couple, maybe 4 weeks ago. I don't know, time is going so fast, so don't quote me on that. But the squaring with Saturn, or the tension with Saturn, just actually started happening I want to say a week ago, on like August 24th, 23rd-ish. So when Saturn and Mars started having tension, that's when it really, really became heavier, and people really started to feel it, saying, there's just something shifting in the air. I feel something, like something's coming down the pipe. I just can't put my finger on it. Like things are about to get a whole lot worse before they get better. Like a lot of people have been giving me these downloads that they've been getting, okay? So a lot of this is that energy that you're feeling with that tension with Mars and Saturn. So I just want to bring that up because this is something that is the heaviest influence probably on the chart right now. And so, you know, it's just not going to be beneficial to skip over that. The other thing that I wanted to mention, which I kind of introed, is that Mars rules agriculture, okay? So there's a lot of things happening around the earth, okay, with the land, okay? China's flooding. We've got fires happening in multiple places. There's lots of bizarre weather and things that are actually, you know, damaging the agriculture. So this placement of this tension between the business aspect, right, with Saturn being in Capricorn and then Mars, right, ruling that agriculture and having tension, that can wreak havoc on the agricultural, you know, industry, and in particular the business side of it, and cause food shortages and cause manufacturers to like slow down. And I mean, I just would, you know, tell you guys to go ahead and start researching and start typing in on Google and seeing things that are coming up in terms of, you know, what's going on in China, kind of what's going on with the land in different parts of the world. So agriculture is actually a major issue that has not been highlighted or focused on, but it's something that we need to keep our eyes on with this tension that's going to continue to happen through the rest of 2020. And there is a fire truck, so I'm gonna pause and let that pass. Okay, so I hope that the sound is gone by now. Hopefully it's far enough away that it's not impacting this video, but I just wanted to kind of say that that's all I really wanted to bring to the forefront about this Mars having tension with Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So you just keep that in mind, do some research, start looking into kind of what's going on around the world in terms of that. Like, this is not a time, like I said before in one of my previous videos, and I think it was about the summer retrogrades and eclipses, I said, hey, you know, this is not a time to slack off. The summertime is actually our opportunity for preparation, okay? This is our time for preparation. There are things that are going to continue to happen that are going to make people say, man, I really wish I would have been serious this summer. And while enjoying the sunlight and while, you know, getting some of the good stuff in, I wish I would have been preparing and taking things seriously, because this is far from over and there's a lot to come down the line. We have a really active hurricane season that's kicking up. There's just a lot of stuff at play. So we just need to be vigilant, keep our eyes and ears open, and constantly do our research and really follow our own intuition, okay? So that is what I'm going to say there. So another big thing that is happening this week is that the moon, it's going to be a full moon, is moving into the sign of Pisces. And this Pisces full moon is all things magical, okay? This is a great full moon for all forms of magic. It's a great full moon for increasing our intuition, okay? It's also great for diving deep into our emotional selves. I mean, we're going to feel really sensitive, highly intuitive, just very receptive. This is that energy, okay? And it's just a very, very magical energy. It's actually my favorite full moon out of the entire year, and Scorpio is my second. But this is my favorite full moon. And yeah, it's just lots of good magic there, lots of positivity that's happening with this particular full moon and the transits around it. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because I have an entire video about the Pisces full moon, and I will link it in the description box so that you can check that out. But make sure you really capitalize on that energy that's coming in. Another thing that is adding to this Pisces full moon magic, the sun is coming in to sprinkle some more of its magic on this entire placement. So the sun, which is hanging out in the sign of Virgo right now, okay, is going to be trining Jupiter. And this is a harmonious aspect. So Jupiter is currently hanging out in the sign of Capricorn, and Virgo and Capricorn are both earth energies, very grounding, very stabilizing, very material focused, and so they just get each other. Those energies they just click, right? So this is actually one of the best transits, period. Like, it's just one of the best placements of teams, that energy teaming up that could actually happen. So what we're talking about is bringing in good vibes, just overall good vibes around this Pisces full moon. It's also helping us boost our good fortune. And then when I say fortune, I'm not just talking about financial or material. I'm also talking about spiritual. I'm also talking about personal abundance or fortune coming in those aspects. So this is a really good placement to just sprinkle some more magic on that Pisces full moon, okay? Another thing the sun will be doing, the sun will also be making a harmonious aspect to Uranus, which is also hanging out in the sign of Taurus, okay? And Taurus is another earth energy, so that Virgo and earth energy, they just really get each other and complement each other very, very well, okay? So this is also heightening our intuition. It's increasing our intuition, which is already boosted by the Pisces full moon, okay? So this is just a lot of beautiful energy with the Pisces full moon, okay? Another thing that the sun is going to be doing that's maybe not so beneficial for us is that the sun will also be opposite, okay? Which means that there is a conflict happening with Neptune, okay? So Neptune is currently in the sign of Pisces, so the sun will be opposite Neptune. And so what this lends itself to is diffusion. I literally combined two words. Confusion and delusion. I just said diffusion. I just combined them. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. Confusion and delusion, okay? So it can be a very delusional type energy where deception can come in and lots of things can cloud your judgment, that, you know, seeing what you want to see, what is not actually so. So just kind of be wary of that, okay? Let's talk about Mercury, because Mercury is doing a lot this week, a lot of lingering energies from last week, and then a couple of new things. Actually, one new thing, okay? So let's talk about the lingering energies that Mercury is bringing over from the previous week. So Mercury, which is hanging out in the sign of Virgo, is still trining Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn. And I said, you know, Virgo and Capricorn are earth energies. They're very similar. They're very complementary. Virgo puts the systems and routines and everything in place, and Capricorn takes that and goes out there and does it and gets to work, okay? So very complementary. So this is still great time for business, for negotiations, for making good decisions. We're going to be feeling overall optimistic, having great influence over others, especially in business dealings. It's also a good time for organization and studying, okay? Another thing that Mercury is bringing over from the previous week is that, and this one is not that's not such a good energy, but it's necessary, right? So Mercury is going to be opposite Neptune in Pisces, okay? And this means that there's a conflict happening, so there is a heightened risk of miscommunications and misunderstandings in your personal relationships. So not really more so on the business side, but more so on the personal side. Okay, so that is something to watch for. Now, the new thing that Mercury is doing this week is that it will be making a harmonious aspect with Venus in Cancer, okay? So what this brings in is kind of a fun and friendly energy that just makes it an overall good time to socialize and to express our love and affection to others, okay? So that is actually a nice, you know, positive boost that's coming in with this particular placement, because, you know, Venus has been doing the absolute most for the last 2 weeks or so. And so I'm going to actually now jump into Venus, because Venus is still kind of doing the most, but she's starting to calm down a little bit, okay? So what Venus is bringing in that's lingering from the previous weeks is that Venus, which is hanging out in the sign of Cancer, is opposite Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. Now, she was opposite Pluto in the previous week, but now we're adding Saturn to the mix for this week, okay? So again, a lot of highlighting a lot of power imbalances in personal relationships, extreme behaviors, aka drama in your love life, okay? And this also, with the Saturn conflict happening now, this is also lending itself to feelings of sadness or a loneliness because of issues with work or money, okay? So your love life could be affected by your finances because your money is funny, okay? So that is something to think about or keep in mind as you move through this week. Another thing that Venus is also still doing is Venus in Cancer is also trining Neptune in Pisces, which means there's a harmonious aspect happening. So there's lots of creative expression that can be involved here. Lots of creative energy and inspiration can come through this transit. But then there's also a need for spiritual connection on a deeper level with like your romantic partners, or with like a deeper level of intimacy that you want to, you know, seek out with somebody that you are romantically involved with, okay? So that is something that is lending itself to the energy this week. Now, the new thing that Venus is doing this week, so Venus will be having tension. It'll be squaring Mars in Aries, okay? So Cancer and Aries don't really mesh that well. Like the energies are just completely opposite, right? So what we're talking about here is relationship difficulties that are being highlighted, okay? Anger and impulsiveness can be coming in, all right? But the positive thing about this particular transit is that your sex drive may be boosted, okay? Because, you know, that Venus and that Mars get together and it's like, woo! So if you are in a really healthy relationship and it's balanced and everything's good, this might be a week where you guys start getting it in and picking it up a notch, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So let's see what else. I think this is it. Wow, I can't believe I made it through the whole list. So I thought there was more notes, but that is it, okay? So that is all that's happening energy-wise for the week. Now, for the herbs that I recommend you working with this week, I'm going to recommend 3 that I actually mentioned in the Pisces full moon video. So I'm going to recommend that you work with elderberry because there is a heightened risk of infections and, you know, people lending themselves to escapism and getting caught up in drugs and alcohol and suppressing their immune system, and the elderberry is going to help you keep your immune system up and moving, but it's also got other magical properties and qualities that is going to be very helpful, especially with that Pisces full moon coming in. Then also sage, which has a great protection element to it, especially if you're practicing your magic and doing all that type of stuff. You know, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself, and sage is one of the great ones that you can use for like protection and cleansing and all of that stuff. And then lavender. Lavender is very protective, but it's also very peaceful and calming and actually works very well with the Pisces full moon energy as well. And the crystal that I'm going to recommend you working with this week is amethyst. And amethyst is going to help you, especially if you're doing your moon rituals with the Pisces full moon. And it's also just a great protective stone, and it's also great for helping you download, because there's going to be lots of downloads coming in. This is when, you know, we can communicate with the spirit world the best, this particular energy with this Pisces full moon. And so a lot of downloads are going to be coming in, and we also want to be able to make sure our third eye is activated and open and we can see clearly with that eye, right? So that amethyst is also going to help with that process. So that is what I would recommend you working with this week, okay? So this bird is talking to me over here. I think he's telling me to end this video. Let me know what you, how you've been feeling. Like, leave your comments in the box down below. Let me know how you've been feeling in terms of like this Mars and this Saturn and this Pluto heaviness, and or like if you're not feeling that way, if you've been feeling the opposite, some things that you've been coming across, maybe any downloads that you have for the collective, whatever you want to leave, drop it down below, as long as it's positive, as long as it's constructive. We don't have time for haterade, okay? So like, share this video with someone that you think that will find it helpful, or subscribe if you haven't at this time, and comment below, comment below. Okay, see you in the next one.